Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Chicken Fried Dice. Hey there gamers, it's Professor Meg here, and welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. Today we have a preview of Chicken Fried Dice by Urban Professional Games. Now this is a sponsored preview. This is also a current crowdfunding campaign, so you can check out the link down below for everything that they have planned, and this is a prototype copy in front of me, so all rules, components, things like that are subject to change. And if you'd like to see exactly how this game plays, you can check out a gameplay on the channel between Alex and and I highly suggest checking it out because this is a game that you'll be rushing to complete orders because you're all going to be playing as players that have their food trucks. You're going to be rolling these dice that represent different ingredients, and you're going to be collecting those to complete these orders. But the thing that you're doing is absolutely rushing because this is a real-time game where grabbing those dice and plucking them out of the coop is going to be extremely important, and you're going to want to grab anything that you might think you might need as quickly as possible because someone else could take it on you, and you're only able to augment these dice so much with the different things you have available to you in your food truck, so it really matters what you choose to take when. So with that, let's dive into Chicken Fried Dice. Currently in front of you, this is a two-player game where you can see that each player has their player boards that they are working with, and that is where you are going to be drafting your dice to work with the different ingredients and then place them out to complete orders for your different customers. So everyone has the same general section, but as you can see, the dice colors that are here for the ingredients that you have inherently from your truck are going to change depending on the player board that you have. So everyone is going to have the 3 spots there, but they are going to be different for the type of ingredient that they provide, and as you can see, customers are going to want certain ingredients. So for example, this lizard here, we are actually providing everything that they want, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to use those dice for those orders. We might use our green somewhere else or our white, and there are even ways for you to change your dice colors, such as the sauce over here. So to go over what your food truck is going to do for you, I'm going to give you an example of what a round is going to look like, because having the dice in front of you is going to make a lot more sense. So normally when you start the game, players are going to have 3 of these guest trucks, and these are going to be the starter ones, so they have a different color over here. They're going to be a little bit weaker than the other cards in the game. So after that, when players gain the guest checks, they're going to be from over here, but you are going to all start with 3 of those in play, and then the first round, the head chef is going to roll these 3 dice. So those will be rolled here into the coop, that one, there we go, and we have a 1, a 3, and a 4. So if we are the head chef, we are going to be able to choose which one of those we want there. So as you can see, this white one, it has a 4 here, and that means that we will gain a tip if we complete this card with the required 4 there in that area. And when you are placing numbers into these slots, you have to go in ascending order. So if this is a 4, we can only put a 4, 5, or 6 in these spots above it. So for the 4, that might be great for us to place as the white. So we'll choose for white to be the central dice, and that's important because it is going to affect everyone. Now this 1 and the 3 aren't really going to help us with this, but as you can see over here, we do want a 2 for the red, meaning that a 3 green might also be beneficial for us. So we'll choose to have the sequence be 3, 4, and then 1. So then all players are going to write that 3, 4, 1 into their truck. So even this player over here would also write that 3, 4, 1, but as you can see, that gives them a value for the different ingredients. So they have a 3, 4 yellow, whereas we have a 3, 4 green, and that's where that is going to change. Now after that, all players are going to grab up their ingredients that they are contributing into the coop, and that is going to be 1 of each color, so 5 dice per player. They're all going to grab those together and roll them in. Now this is going to be the real-time element of the game. Obviously, I'm here alone, so I don't really have to race, but this is the moment where players are going to be grabbing these dice as quickly as possible, because as I said, you do get those tips if you match the particular number. So for us in this instance, finding a yellow 5 might be great for us, as well as a red 2. So if we see either of those come up, that might be a reason for us to grab it pretty quickly. So we're going to roll these all together, but each player would be rolling their own in. And as you can see, that yellow 5 did not show up for us, and neither did the red 2. But there is a white 5, so we are able to grab this white 5 before anyone else could grab it from the coop area, and we will place it here. Now, the part that slows down players is that you have to then resolve that die that you drafted before you can then draft a new one. So you can't just take everything you want and then play it out as you see fit. You have to work with that one and then move forward. So as we're working with this, other players are likely drafting the dice that they need to complete their customer orders. And with that 5, we are actually going to choose to sauce it. So that's going to be this area over here, and that's going to allow us to change the color. So this could be any ingredient die, and we're able to change it to any of the colors that we want. So we are going to write our 5 in here. I believe we're actually just going to cross it out. And then we're going to be able to place a 5 over on this card here. So that means we are now 1/3 of the way toward completing this owl. Now, we're going to have this player just draft a die out of this area. I'm not going to play this one's side, so we're just going to pull a die out so that we have less choices. But one of the things that we are starting to work toward is completing him this round. Now, as you can see, there's the red 2 as well as a red spot over here. So this red 5 is also going to be pretty good for us because we're going to be able to draft that and then chop it in this area over here. So we will mark off that we took a red ingredient, and then we're going to write the numbers that we want it to be. So we know that we want a 2, so a 3 and a 2 would be pretty great for us, and then we will use those numbers. So we can use this 2 over here, and then we're able to use this 3 and place it over here as well. So we're working more toward this card and started on this one as well, working toward completing these customers' orders. And again, now we'll just have this player choose to draft a die, and perhaps they're a bit faster than we were, so they'll draft another one as well. So they'll start taking a dice from the pool on us, and then we're going to see how we're able to fill this in here. So we do have our white 4, and I think that would be really great for us to use. So we will cross this one out, place this here, and now we will get this bonus. So we're able to gain this bonus, which is going to be circling this area here. And this is unlocking this ability for us, which is going to be a one-time cross out of a red. So we are able to, on a red, cross one out. And over here, that would be great if this number wasn't here, but if it was one where a tip is, you would lose that tip because it's not matching the number that it wants to have. So you are able to save that for future rounds. We'll bank that for now and know that this customer is currently finished. And then we will continue looking at the dice. So we do have this green 4 here, and we're able to place it over here. So we can just do that now, and then we'll have, let's see, we can have them draft a final die over here. And now that the other player has drafted all 4 of their dice, or if you're playing with more than one other player, as soon as everyone has drafted all of their dice, you no longer have to rush, and you can think out what you need to do with the remaining dice, but you also have limited options because you did wait. So we have already changed the color, we've already chopped, we do have these dice remaining. Unfortunately, we don't have any yellow spots available. So we do have this purple 1, so we'll choose to take that, and we are able to re-roll it. So we do want something pretty high over here. So we are going to use a re-roll and try re-rolling this one. So that was a 6, which is great for us. So we will keep that and write our 6 in. So now finally, we do still have a 3 as well as a 1, but for your base dice, you are not able to augment them with these. So unfortunately, we are not able to re-roll this green 3. And if we had played a little bit slower, we might have chosen to put the green 3 here and this 4 over in this spot, because this white wants to have a 4, so a 4 here wouldn't be hurting us. But because this is a real-time game, this is where you can see that mistakes might be made because you are trying to complete it as fast as possible. So that is where we are going to be left. We would be able to write this 3 in if we wanted to and give up that tip, but where we're waiting around, honestly, I think we will. We'll choose to write that in. So that's going to roll over for us, and then the round would now end. So to conclude a round, you're now going to score your different customer cards. And as you can see, there are 5 rounds that you're going to be playing throughout the game. So for us, we completed 1 card, and that's going to give us 1 star fragment over here. So we're going to be able to cross off 1 area of this first star here, and as you complete stars, they're going to give you victory points, starting with 6 points, going all the way to 60 if you're able to complete all of your stars. So that's a reason why you might go for specific orders, and you already saw why you would be using these tags to move along these tracks. So the other benefits that customers are able to give you when you complete them are going to be these here, which are going to be crossing out those, again, just like these abilities here. So this one would give us 1 of any color, but as we get on to more complicated guests, I will show you that some of them are going to have you cross off multiple tags at a time. Now, finally, after that, we're also going to gain tips for this customer as well, because we did such a great job. So because our 5 matched what they wanted here, which was a 5, it was exactly what they wanted. When we score this one, we are going to gain 1 tip, which is going to be this track here. So that's going to be gained, and the first box that we just crossed off is going to gain you an upgrade for your food truck. So some of them are going to be victory points, and gaining that is going to just cascade for you, that it will be better the more that you're able to cross off. But some of them are going to be either gaining an upgrade or the option to flip over that upgrade as well. So taking a look here, I'm going to go through the truck, but you have your starting ingredients, and then your first upgrade, it will now be worth 3 victory points for you, and you're able to augment your different dice. So you are now able to change the color, chop them, or re-roll them when you want to change the dice that are your basic ones from your head chef dice. So that would have helped us a lot. And then after that, you also have one that gives you 2 rainbows as well. So you're able to augment them, but you're also able to have them count as whatever you want, meaning that this round we would have had a 4 that is white, but we would have had a 3 and a 1 that could be anything that we wanted it to be. So that is going to be those upgrades. For saucing, this one's going to be, again, they're all going to gain victory points for you, where this goes to 5. This one is going to go from 3 victory points to 5 victory points. And this one is just adding how many you were able to sauce, going from 1 to 2 to 3. This one here for the chopping is going to be similar to that, where you're able to chop even more. So you're chopping from 1 to 2 to 3. But again, this is going all the way up to 3 victory points. And with the most victory points is going to be the one where you're able to re-roll. So it's going to be worth 4 victory points at first, and then a total of 7. And as you can see, if you're able to upgrade a lot of things in your truck, it's going to be worth a huge chunk of victory points for you at the end of the game as well. Now, that is what a round is going to look like, where players are going to be adding in their dice for the ingredients that they are contributing. You are going to be drafting out what you want to as quickly as possible and filling out these orders. Once everyone is ready, you are then going to score them and then move on to the next round. After that, players are going to gain some more customer orders. Depending on the round I'll show you, you will be gaining either 3 or 4 cards each round, and you are able to mulligan. So you'll see why you might want some of them to cascade and affect other cards, that you'll choose which ones to keep. There are a whole lot of things to consider within that, but players are going to do that for 5 rounds, and at the end of that I will show you what you're going to consider for endgame scoring. So if this is where we were left at the end of round 1 with both of these two still complete, when they do roll over to the next round, they will lose a point in the stars that they contribute. So that is still okay, because this one, for example, will still give us the ability that they contribute when they are completed, as well as any tips if you are able to match that number, which unfortunately for this one we won't be able to, but we would still get that ability for completing them. And I will show you there's a little bit of endgame scoring that you'll be able to get from this board as well. So when a round is completed, for the next round, players are going to draw 3 guest orders, and this is when you're able to mulligan. So as you can see, these ones are a bit more complex where they have more requirements for them, but they might be worth a whole lot more victory points, where this one is worth a total of 5 star fragment points, basically an entire star to itself. And when you do complete this one, you're able to cross off 2 white spots. So again, those are the X's, so if we did use it for both of these cards, we would not be able to get the tip from this card, but that's a way for you to fill out some of those. But this one is going to show that instead, this is actually all. So when it's these 3 in a row like that, that symbol is all of them. So you would be able to complete this card and then cross out any of your yellow ones that are not currently crossed out, which is great. But for example, here's another one where this is going to be 2 wilds for this track here. So instead of being a specific track that you need to follow, it's going to be a wild, adding some flexibility for you. So with that, I'm going to have us take a look at what you were able to gain from these different tracks. So a lot of them are straightforward, as I noted, which are going to be crossing out specific areas on your customer orders. Some of them are going to be gaining tips. You're also going to be able to gain victory points for hitting certain areas within these maps. And some of them are going to allow you to draft additional dies from the coop, which is what this symbol is going to be here. Now, finally, if you hit a certain threshold on each of the tracks, you're able to gain victory points for your completed orders for particular tags. So, for example, for that completed order, we have yellow, white, and red, and depending on the tracks, we are able to unlock scoring for red as well as for yellow. So, for either of those, if we had completed this track at least up to that area, you gain 1 victory point for each yellow tag that you have completed in your customer orders. Now, to go through final endgame scoring at the end of 5 rounds, players are going to gain points for as far as they were able to get on the tip track. So, for example, you're able to gain up to 20 points if you're able to reach the top. You're also going to gain victory points for all of your upgrades and where they're currently at in your truck. Then you're going to gain the victory points that I just noted, which are going to be for the tags that you've completed on your orders if you've unlocked that. Then you're also able to gain any of your scoring if you're playing on the picnic side, which for this one, you're going to be filling out these different symbols as you gain them within these different areas, gaining bonuses. So they do want different things, where this one wants 4 unique symbols. This one, you're going to gain points for the amount of unique symbols that you have. This one, they have to be unique. This one, they have to be the same. And this one, you get 2 points for each that are the same, but if they're all the same, you get 20 points. So this is going to be a way for you to add some scoring as well and gain these bonuses instead if you choose to play on this side. But then players are also going to get any victory points from their stars that they have completed. So up to the highest star that they have completed, they'll gain victory points, and then 1 additional victory point for each one after that. So for example, if we were completed up to here, but only 1 over here, we would have 37 victory points. And then after that, whoever has the most at the end of the game is going to be the winner. Chicken fried dice is extremely fast-paced, and as I said, if you'd like to see exactly what I mean, I highly suggest checking out the gameplay between Alex and I, because players are going to be fighting for those different ingredients that they really need to complete those different orders for their customers. So there is strategy in the game, especially when you are mulliganing the different custom orders that you are choosing to take each round, but there's also going to be a very fast-paced moment where you're trying to grab these dice as quickly as possible, and you're going to make a very fast decisions that may reward you later. So you definitely need to keep an eye out for those things that you're really hoping for, but as you upgrade your food trucks, you're going to be able to augment those dice as you need to. So you're going to have more and more options available to you, meaning that you're going to want to complete those tips as early as possible in the game so that you're able to access those upgrades and have them for as many rounds as possible, because any little thing that you're able to do, such as chopping those dice and being able to place out more ingredients or being able to sauce and change what they are, is really going to matter, especially when it comes toward the end of the game when you want to be completing everything. And you're also going to lose customers if you ever aren't able to cross out a star on them. So as you saw with one of them, we crossed out a star and he's now worth 0 points to us, but if we weren't able to complete him on the next round, he would also leave. So you do have to keep an eye out for that sometimes losing 1 point isn't bad, and especially pacing out so that you have certain abilities trigger on a future round can be a really good idea, but you need to make sure that you don't lose these customers along the way. Now, finally, I will note there is a solo mode for the game, and that's going to be actually the back of all of the player boards. So there are multiple bosses that you are able to play off against depending on the difficulty that you want to use, and the amount of dice and ingredients that you're playing with is even going to change depending on the particular boss that you're playing against for the solo mode. So there are full solo rules that you're able to check out, but just know that there is a mode for that you're able to play against the game as well, and each of them is going to change the game as well with the different specialties that they have. So you are going to have these different boards, as you can see. They are going to be very, very different with the things that they do. So there is a solo mode if you are interested in that as well. Chicken Fried Dice, as I said, is going to feel very fast-paced because it is a real-time game, but as it is a game where you are drafting and writing into these dice, you are getting those cascading abilities as well. So as you upgrade on the different tracks, you are getting bonuses, and when you are pacing out the different customers, you can complete a lot of customers that you had in a previous round during a future round, and use those abilities to trigger a lot of cool things. So there are many ways that you are able to cascade things in this game, and you have a very clear way of tracking victory points as well, that it's very clear from the get-go what you are working toward, and with these stars, as you complete them, you can see exactly how many points you are gaining. So it is all very straightforward, and over the course of those 5 rounds, you are drawing out these customers, mulliganing and choosing what is going to be best for you, weighing out what you are able to complete versus how many victory points it might be worth toward you, and what abilities you really want to trigger. For example, if you really need a particular symbol, you might take a lower point card because you really want that choice instead. So this has been a preview of Chicken Fried Dice by Urban Professional Games. You can check out the link down below for everything that they have planned, and don't forget to watch the gameplay between Alex and I. I've been Professor Meg, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!